I guess no better place to start than here. Welcome to episode 91, everybody. Holy shit, 91. Yeah.
We made it.
So I got a little scared there for a second because I saw hands moving, but I didn't hear any audio. I was like, oh shit, everybody dropped out.
So, is it my noise cancellation?
No, we're good. Speaking of,
Okay.
before everybody knows, if you're looking at YouTube, you probably know who this is, unless you've lived under a rock. But before we start this episode, I got a Spotify comment on our last episode, and I hold myself to the highest standard of accountability on this. So we got a comment where this dude was like, yeah, I tried to listen to the episode, but the dude wouldn't stop munching on his pretzels. So,
oh, you motherfucker.
So, listen, in my defense, I thought the microphone would cancel out the bag noise. Okay, so that did not happen. I went back and listened to it. That did not happen. So I am terribly sorry.
Eating Cheetos.
Dude, they were cookies and cream pretzels. They were so good. I will continue to drink. I have me a nice Sonic drink here, but
I got ocean water.
No, that's root beer with vanilla added. But anyways, I think the dude's name was Cody Holcomb. So, dude, I apologize so much because I'm gonna tell you right now, real sidebar, real quick, and I got that sidebar from the sidelines. Anyways, so I love horror movies and I listen to a lot of horror movie podcasts. And I was listening to one like last year. It wasn't even that recent, but the dude, it was just two guys having dialogue about like an upcoming, maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game. And this one dude was like eating supper while recording, like fork and knife, like hitting the plate, like a glass plate. And that's all I could hear the whole time. And I was like, why in the fuck would anybody eat while they're doing a podcast? And
they look at you.
And I decided to have some pretzels, and so yeah, I thought the microphone would take care of it, but I was wrong. So I know that was a lot to unpack there, but I'm so sorry. I appreciate the feedback.
It won't happen again, will it?
No, I appreciate the feedback. So I will continue to drink my little drinky drinks, but yes. So if you're on the YouTube, which is fairly new to us, everybody's seen the title. The title is going to be my man's name here. Welcome back from episode 31, Vince Cunningham. What's up, my man?
What's going on?
Dude, from 31 to 91. That's a big gap.
Yeah, well, there's a lot that happened in between 31 and 91 too.
2 years. It was 23 was the episode.
Yeah, so that I don't know if that was I think that was probably my first or second exodus from the paintball world. But yeah, now I'm not back at all. I'm more of just an outside voice because I still have, no matter what I do, I still have those contacts and connections. You know, I can still make a phone call and hey, what's going on with this, and kind of get some real deep insight from industry or pros themselves. So just back having fun. I know I kind of went real hard in the paint about this Marcello stuff, so which we'll get into, but that kind of sucked me back in a little bit into the media side, and I started playing again. So I started playing earlier this year. I sold everything after my last departure from the paintball world. Sold all of it, got rid of everything, was done with paintball, wasn't even playing no more, and then I went out to a local field. Todd Boyer from the KC Missouri All-Stars, the semi-pro team. He has a field out here, sports complex, in the KC Sports Complex, and he has his team plus the complex team. And I went out there just to help, watch, look around. I kind of started to get the itch again. You know how it goes, right? You're gonna wish you left, but you'll never leave kind of situation. So I was there for like 2 days and was like, all in. All right, let's get back.
You just can't stay away, man. It's rough.
Yeah, I didn't even go buy, some like $300, $400 gun. I like straight up just Project R5. Like,
nice.
Yeah, straight in. Like,
my dude just straight into the deep end.
Yeah, so now I play every couple weekends. I'm not like dedicated to a team, but I can always go out there and hop on a line and have fun. So the end goal is I'll never do paintball media again, but I do want to play again. You know, my boys are starting to get to the age now where they're interested in wanting to play. So so just kind of jump into it, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was sucked back in to defend a very good friend of mine, Marcello Margott, over this whole
that's a lot.
crazy situation.
That's a lot to unpack. How much time do you have tonight?
I have as much time as you will give me to talk through all of this, because the babies are pretty much put to sleep. The dinner and everything's made. Wife is happy. So as long as my phone doesn't die, which if I have to, I'll go get a charger. That's usually the catalyst. But yeah, that's I got time. I got time to talk through this.
Yeah, me and Mama swapped out tonight. I've been putting the baby to bed all week this week, and she's been putting our 4-year-old, because I have a 2.5-month-old now, and he's doing very well. He goes to sleep at about 9 o'clock, and he'll, like, the last 2 or 3 weeks he's been sleeping all through the night, so no complaints. But
yeah, I understand. I have a 12-week-old boy, actually.
Oh,
so
man, congratulations. Congratulations, my man.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I put the 4-year-old to bed tonight because we took him swimming this afternoon. He wore himself out, so it was kind of a read a book, cover him up, and he's crashed. So I'm good.
Yeah. I love that. It's so easy.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
that was us yesterday. We had me and the wife took the kids to daycare. So we have a 4-day this weekend, and we have Friday off. And daycare hours were short, so we're like, we'll take them anyway. Dropped the kids off at daycare, went to the beach for the afternoon, got the kids, and then came back to our neighborhood, took them to the community pool, let them play till about like 5:30, 6 o'clock. Came home, put burgers on the grill on the Blackstone.
Ooh.
They ate, they crashed. It was perfect.
You know, it's funny about the conversation that we had right now. There's so many people in paintball that can kind of relate to that, only because the age, and I talked about this a long time ago, the age has shifted so much in paintball and price, right? Money-wise, it's like the only people that can really afford it, and I'm just going to hate on myself here for a minute, is like the permanent D4 dads, right? It's like, like we can afford to play, but we don't have necessarily all the time to play, so it's easy to hop into like a D4 tournament before things start getting real serious. So, and it's because it's aged up. I mean, the average age is like 28, I think, now for it's we're starting to see a little more as like the NXL pushes like the youth league more and more. It's the same thing with the women's division, right? Barely seeing any women, but the last 3 years they've pushed the WNXL so much, you're starting to see an influx of women, which is great. But that's like the standard, standard dad thing now. It's like I get to watch all my paintball after the kids go to bed type deal. So, but yeah, with all that, I appreciate you all having me on. I really want to dive in and kind of, we touched off base or off screen about like this whole Marcello thing. And I know you guys were getting some hate about your stance. I was getting a bunch of hate about my stance. If I'll kind of, let's go through like a little chronological order, like little 2-minute recap here. And then what we'll, then dive into like the bits and pieces of that. So, and fill in what I may be forgetting here. But essentially what happened is that, and this is talking directly to Marcello, a very good friend of mine, and then other people involved in that whole situation. And I want to say first and foremost, right, it's sad that we have to do this, but for kind of video purposes and audio purposes, none of us here support anything that Dan said.
Nope.
We have nothing to do with it. Like this is not us defending his stance in any way, shape, or form. This is all, from my point of view, at least factually based on what happened in this scenario, and then our thoughts on that scenario. By no means am I going to sit here and defend anything that Dan has said or done. Do you guys have any other comments on that?
No.
Yeah. I have to say a legal statement, essentially, since I'm active duty. Like, I do not represent the duty's views, beliefs, or anything of that nature. And on the other hand, and like Vince said, it's very fucking sad that we have to like have this disclaimer, but like we at the Center 50, including Vince, our guest, Do not support that shit whatsoever. I don't understand why that's so hard to get through people's heads, but we don't support that shit.
Y'all see
And
how Daniel's doing Trump hands?
the accordion. I tell you what, I said, Dan, don't cry. But like seriously though, because I had to ask some high-ranking officials, like, look, man, I have a podcast and this is going on X, Y, and Z. And he's like, oh, you might want to say this statement here, and you might want to do this, you might want to do that. And the fact that I have to come out here and say that I don't support that type of beliefs or anything of that nature whatsoever is a shame in today's world. It's a fucking shame.
Yeah.
But that's
so like,
rant over.
Do I need to make a statement? Because if I just say I agree, everybody be like, "Oh, Vince and Daniel said they denounce it, but PJ didn't, so he's a fucking Nazi." You know,
might as well. But I guarantee you there'll be one. I guarantee fucking you there'll be one ignorant motherfucker that would do
probably
it.
the guy that I showed Vince just now that we both had in our inbox. But yeah, absolutely not. I denounce the views. And I have my own thoughts on everything as a whole. In the world entirely, and it's very kind of selfish. I really don't give a fuck about a lot of things, and I will just basically leave it at that. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, I don't.
It does.
Yeah, I don't support it, but I don't give a shit. Okay, I mean,
Same.
Is that bad to say that way? Like,
no, it's
dude. No.
Yeah.
My family and I are very insulary, and I don't. The reason why my wife is a stay-at-home mom is we didn't want other, people raising our kids. The reason why we're very involved in the school system is I don't want my kids to be taught certain things. And I mean, I'm the same mindset. As long as it doesn't affect, my wife, my kids, or myself, I don't care.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yeah, love what you want to love, do what you want to do. I don't care. Just don't. I'm going to give you one warning, about something. If we decide to bring our family or kids around you and you say something off the wall, I'm going to give you one warning. And then after that, I'm going to light your world on fire. So,
me and PJ and our dad were in that situation one time at my dad's mom's house, one Sunday dinner. There was this racist dude there, and he started saying some shit.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, he was part of the family, right?
Married into the family. I'm
married
into the family.
Married late, essentially. But came around, and like every time we go there, our dad expected us to act a certain way because that's the house that he grew up in and shit, right?
Yeah.
And so we were always to ourselves. We're very polite, cordial. And we were always into skateboarding at the time, so we'd be outside on the driveway, sidewalk, skateboarding and doing whatever. And then that dude started saying some racist shit, and my dad gave him one warning. And I don't like, for those that know our dad, he's a big man. He ain't no fucking pushover. He's more like PJ stature. He's a big boy. And when like our dad gets mad, man, he's like about as red as this mic for the people on YouTube, and he starts spitting when he talks.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not good, man.
It don't happen often. It don't happen often.
No,
it's not good.
And that dude pushed our dad's buttons because that's the way that we were raised. We weren't raised in that type of environment, right? And that dude started spitting some racist shit, and it wasn't no calm warning either. He was spitting. He was red in the face. He said, "You got one more fucking time." And me and Pete just sitting there like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
So, but he got that one warning though, right? Didn't say another fucking word.
Yeah. Now the crazy thing is that you try to stick up for yourself or your beliefs these days, and it's like the internet mob, like the keyboard cowboys, right? So, but yeah,
I love that term.
Yeah. So, all right. So, kind of how
kick us
all
off.
of this started. Let's inform everybody real quick how all this kind of blew up. So, the end result is Marcello almost lost all of his sponsors, got cut from his team where he was making a ton of money. He was the highest paid pro player, and a lot of people distance themselves from him. The end result is, guess what? Pro sports are pro sports, and owners want to win. So he was cut from one top 5 team and was signed literally 48 hours later to another top 5 team, arguably with a better roster. So, I don't know how the money side of it worked out. Him and I didn't talk about that. It's comparable to what he was making, right? So he's not losing a lot. But so start to finish on this real quick, and then we'll pepper in some thoughts and everything on each section of this. So Marcello coaches Dan Blazarian's team Protocol. Protocol is a D5 team, and obviously Dan Blazarian, big time party boy, had Ignite, the weed brand, all this kind of stuff, right? Big time gambler.
Like 14
Protocol
million
is actually,
followers or something like that on Instagram at the time.
What's that?
He had like 14 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah,
Some shit like that. Some
crazy,
huge following.
A ton of people know who Dan Blazarian is, and anytime you get someone like that inside paintball, right? The general guidance from the industry is, let's take someone who's good for the industry, place them with that person. In this case, it was Marcello with him to try to guide him into, the getting paintball more mainstream. And
right.
So he was coaching their team Protocol. Protocol is actually a supplement brand that Dave owns. That's the reason for the name Protocol. So they went there. Dan has dropped a ton of money. I mean, an absolute ton of monies, in somewhere in the range of six figures in his first 6 months in paintball, in just gear collections. I mean, just crazy stuff. Okay. So, he bought one of super rare flex masks for $7,000, something crazy, right?
Jesus Christ.
So obviously Marcel's been in paintball for 20 plus years. He's been kind of besides maybe Ryan Greenspan, right? He is Mr. Paintball. He is the guy.
He is on the cover of the Paintballers game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he was in Dan's house. Staying there, obviously, they had a coaching weekend. He was going around the room of the walls of his Proflex collection, Dan's Proflex collection, and subsequently, somebody else who I am not 100% sure who this was, but I believe it was originally on the Paintball Instagram page, the actual Instagram page Paintball, which is owned by HK Army.
Yeah.
Someone was going around and doing a gun or a marker video, same thing, because Dan loves the infamous CS3 cut. So he literally has 15 of them in all different shapes, sizes, colors, the whole 9 yards. And so Marcello did that video, and someone noticed in the bottom, left-hand corner, there was a Spire 5 with SS bolts on it that looked like someone made in magic silver mark, right?
Yeah.
So someone screen captured that and then paired it with the other video that was literally up for all of 15 minutes and then taken down immediately, that you could see the actual SS anodized, white skull, full Nazi marker. So from there, a couple media places picked it up, a very large one, right, that's known for some controversial stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love him as a guy. I don't want to shoot any hate his way, so everyone just kind of understands who that is. This gentleman is also, affiliated with Marcello. He did their podcast recently. Good dude, right?
Can I side note on that real quick?
Yeah.
Without calling names, everybody knows who we're talking about, but I don't want to drop any hate. Was not very fond of this person and his content for a long time.
Yes.
I thought it was kind of like backdooring to some of the industry. But then he had his episode and I listened to it and I found a new respect for him. So
yeah.
I look at it at a different perspective now. So I tip my hat to him. I still don't agree with some things, but he was given the platform to kind of tell his perspective, and it changed my outlook on it. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So
he was trying to take a shot at Dave, not at Marcello. So he was trying to show how much a piece of a shit in his perspective Dave was, and Marcello was kind of collateral damage, right, in that situation. So obviously,
Wait, Dave or Dan?
Dan.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Dan. I apologize, Dan. I don't know.
I didn't even catch
Dave.
that.
Dan. Thank you, Daniel. So Dan Blazarian. He didn't like Dan. He was trying to put Dan on blast because like him and like me, I had some kind of negative comments about them putting this D5 team everywhere.
Yes.
Like at the first event, right? A little side note here. At the first event of the year, Dan's team protocol got more coverage than some pro teams did, right?
Yeah.
There was Dan's team was put in the prime time, on Premier Field, and they bumped semi-pro teams to a different field. So and I said, Dirty Dan and the boys could be on this, watching D5 paintball. Like, come on, like.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you're famous or not. If you're a D5 player, no one wants to watch that. When I was a D5 player, I didn't want anybody watching me, So
Yeah.
the whole point is that there's a couple people inside the industry that did not like the fact that protocol was being pushed so hard. I have nothing against them, none of that kind of stuff. I think one of the former WNXL players plays on that team. So,
or did
anyway,
I have a comment about that, but I will wait until there's a point in the story where I want to throw that in there. But I will remind you. Yeah, you probably know where I'm going, but we'll get there.
So, that image of that SS hopper and gun and everything gets thrown around. Everyone starts picking it up. And then everyone starts going ham on, this guy's a piece of shit, blah, 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 all different stuff. And then a bunch of companies started coming out with statements like, we don't support this, we don't that, blah, blah, blah. And that's great, right? That people were doing that. But then it turned to like, Marcel, you're going to cut ties, right? You're going to cut ties. Well, what people don't realize in the back end of this, Marcello has signed NDAs, right? He has signed NDAs. He is under contract. Like, he's making money by coaching this team. So there's a lot going on that he couldn't say at first. What's up?
Stephen Hatch had that as a conspiracy theory from the sidelines. I want to give him credit for that. So.
Yes. So that was now Marcello has not confirmed that with me. Again, that was like, I was inferring, and I was kind of like, I'm guessing this is kind of something going on. And then there were people there was someone that's actually on protocol in Dan's camp that actually reached out to me that said, yes, that is true. I wish to remain anonymous. Don't say anything, but Marcello, anybody in Dan's camp has to sign those if you're around him at all, right? Which makes sense. That's a general celebrity thing, right? Mm-hmm. So he went the option of, Marcello made a statement, right? Tried to be in the middle, said, hey, I don't agree with what the thing's going on, but at the same time, it's like freedom of speech, and people can kind of say what they want to say, do what they want to do, right? That's their right. And I think the thing that everyone missed on this was, Marcello was friends with this guy for the other 99% of his life, right? Yeah. Does he have shitty views? Absolutely. That's on him. But there's other parts of people that just because you don't believe in their stuff, or something they may do, doesn't mean you distance yourself from them. Like, I have a good friend of mine, very good friend of mine, that has some, let's just say, off the wall Southern views because he's from deep South Florida and, has a certain way he was raised. I don't agree with all of them. Him and I agree to disagree on things, but I'm not going to stop being friends with him, So the only thing people could focus on is the fact that when Marcello would not come out and directly say he's separating from Dan, this guy sucks, all this different stuff. When he didn't come out and say that, everyone started going hard in the paint on Marcello, right?
Big time.
You're a Nazi sympathizer, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this dude's been a beacon of paintball for 20 years. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like everyone starts going after him. So it's like, how do you think he should react? It's like he thinks that the same people who would line up at an event and would literally lick the sweat coming off his jersey, right, are the same people who are now shitting on him and like calling him a Nazi and everything. So it pissed me off. So I got real involved in the whole process. But
can I read a statement?
read his statement real quick.
I got it right here. It's a little lengthy, and we can kind of break this down as well. I didn't mean to like derail you. I just think it's important.
No, like that's good. I'm glad because you have.
Everybody's probably read this, but just for if you haven't, if this is new to you, then here you go. This is what we're here for. So it says, I am so disappointed in the community that I have devoted my life to building, and how quick so many of you were to throw my name into the fire. For those, and there were many that reached out and had my back, thank you. I will never forget that. To the ones telling me to do better, as you aggressively try to tear down everything I have built before hearing from me, you do better. I absolutely do not condone hate or any sort of call for violence against any group of people based on race, gender, or religion. Never have and never will. I have always operated from a place of empathy, and truthfully, this response from people has me realizing how much work we all have to do when it comes to having patience with people and trying to understand their position. I do not condone any symbol of hate, period. The photo shared on other platforms along with the video I posted showcasing the gear collection was not my photo. I did not pick up the gun in question and show it off. I did not even notice it in the video until it was brought to my attention the next day. I believe in a world where you can challenge common knowledge and have open discourse about challenging ideas. I believe in having friends with different worldviews, religions, backgrounds, and most importantly, contrast to your belief system. Isolating people is not how you change opinion. Continued, thoughtful conversation with love and empathy is how you create any change you want to see in the world. Hate will never drive out hate, and I hope you all can try to take a deep breath and reconsider your opinion. More on this to follow, Marcello.
Yeah, so the general breakdown in that, right?
Not received very well.
No, like you guys are shitting on me essentially, and then like the whole supposedly the whole paintball community hates me right now, throwing me under the bus, not understanding where I'm coming from. They didn't even they didn't wait for him to come out with a statement before they started lighting him on fire.
They tried to cancel him immediately.
Immediately. So in 48 hours, all that happens. Marcello makes a statement, and then the NXL comes out. They make a statement. Then they make a rule change. Now, let's just put our thinking hats on here for a minute. Who's a partial owner of the NXL?
Bart Yakmak.
Oh, Bart Yakmak. Okay,
Yep.
So what this came down to, in my opinion, is having worked for the NXL, right? The NXL works on a shoestring budget. Like it is. The threshold of error is very small. So the problem you have is when a group of people who are supposedly playing tournaments, like at the NXL and spending money, when it seems like, or the appearance is a large number of them are, boycotting the NXL now, they have to do what's best to protect the brand and protect the money. So then the NXL puts out this statement, and then Bart comes out, and it was Bart's decision. So there were two things going on here. There was a group of people that were, and we'll just say for the audience here, we'll just say Impact, right? Supposedly Impact wanted to keep Marcello, but the sponsors were saying, you cut him or we're cutting ties with you, right? And obviously with Bart being an owner, if someone like Planet Eclipse, for example, stops spending money, like that's a problem. So again, going back to protecting the brand, Bart comes out and he makes a decision with Dave Baines, and they cut Marcello. Okay. Not only did that happen, then Tyler, and I got nothing against Tyler. I've met Tyler, love Tyler.
Neither do we.
Right?
Made that very clear. Neither do we.
Yeah, Tyler comes out and he full on blasts Dan and the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, his statement calling everyone who supports this a piece of shit, right? So,
yeah.
So then everyone starts cutting ties with Marcello publicly, right? And as all this is going on, the reason I originally made a story that was like, there were rumors going on inside the industry from other paintball companies and dealerships and then business owners that I know who were saying that it was one of two companies who was actually pushing Marcello out and went back to their people and said, hey, went back to Pro Teams and said, you cannot sign him or we're pulling all of our funding. Okay.
Yeah.
People don't realize too that there's a lot of teams out there that get free equipment, like free equipment from Planet Eclipse, and that's their main gun sponsor. Okay, so if you pull that, there's not a lot of companies out there that are just going to give you brand new stuff, right? In the pro world, believe it or not, right? Like a team like Uprising, they buy their guns. Like they don't get free; they buy them at a discount, right?
Yeah,
But they buy their stuff. Like the Hurricanes buys their stuff. Like there's a bunch of pro paintball teams that still buy their own gear. So, so all of that happens. Looks like Marcello's losing everything, and then the kind of end of all of this is in behind the scenes, a bunch of pro players are supporting him. There's very good brands like HK Army who are supporting him. So it makes you think there for a second. Well, the two biggest sponsors of Impact are HK Army and Planet Eclipse. So if HK is coming out and supporting Marcello, the only other company in this case is Planet Eclipse. But that was all coming out, I talked to Marcello. Marcello actually talked to Leds over at Planet Eclipse, and they said, "Hey, we had nothing to do with this, not us." Whatever.
We were told that as well. I will not say any names, but since you said Leds, this person had spoke with Leds, and because we're all of us over here and our mutual friends are in support of Marcello 1,000%, and we a certain content creator was posting various stories about how oh well, Marcello's not going to be able to be picked up by any Planet Eclipse team because they won't have them. And then this person reached out to some people at PE, and Leds was like, not really the case. I don't want to say word for word 'cause I don't have it with me right now, but they directly told from them that no, don't.
Yeah, that was already debunked to us.
Yeah.
So the hilarious thing about this is another very large paintball brand. I know one of the main representatives over there that runs that company, and I reached out and said, "Hey," and they're a PE brand. I said, "Are there a PE team?" I said, "Hey, is there any chance that you guys pick up Marcello?" And kind of like he goes on a redemption tour, kind of like how this separate situation, but like how everyone was saying J-Rab was washed, and then he goes to Legion where like he got his paintball fame at, and then now he won I don't know, he won some, I didn't pay attention to the awards, but he won some
and then they won two events back to back.
So
real quick,
so I was like, okay, does Marcello maybe go back to this team or go to this team rather, and kind of redoes his image a little bit? And they said no, because the relationship we have with the sponsor that is kind of pushing Marcello out, we can't do that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then it was just kind of like there was a bunch of conflicting stuff going on. And so at the end of the day, you look at it this way. There were two teams, right? There was a bunch of teams, but there was two teams that were kind of like really pushing to get him, and none of them are Planet Eclipse teams. It was two DLX teams.
Yeah.
So you can't tell me, if you're one of the 19 other teams besides Impact, 12 of them I think shoot 12 of them shoot Planet Eclipse, that they weren't all reaching out trying to get Marcello, right? He makes every team in the pro division competitive. So yeah, I just kind of, anyways, he ends up signing with Damage. Everything is kind of like the news cycle, right? It's all kind of hush hush, washed under the rug. But I know you guys and I had some very interesting DMs, and I actually have some of them written down that we can kind of share back and forth our experience with that whole situation. So did I miss anything in there?
I got two statements to read, but I want to ask you, because you said the name, you brought up J-Rab. He was very quick to the punch to put up a denouncing statement, and I just kind of want to know. I have my opinions on it, and I don't know J-Rab personally, and I don't say anything. My opinion doesn't reflect my opinion of his character. The opinion of the situation doesn't reflect the opinion of his character, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I want to know your thoughts on that, because I thought it was very quick. I've seen you see this in various sports, esports and stuff like that. People get, they get accused, or as soon as they get a little bit of negative spotlight on them, people that are associated with them, their friends, just essentially just social media denounce and then cut ties with that. It seems like they do it without even speaking to anybody. So like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So I have met J-Rab at an event. I've talked to him very, very briefly. I was much more closer to Mouse during the whole AC Diesel situation than that was J-Rab, right? But that was kind of my introduction a little bit to that whole thing, was talking with Mouse and whatnot. So J-Rab was one of the ones that went really in on everybody, and was constantly posting memes about like the whole situation, and even I believe saying something about the people that were defending Marcello. He made a meme about it, and it's like, dude, this is a guy that you have played on teams with, I believe won a championship with, and someone who has been around, you've been around or been with for 20 years, right? And to come out in such, like, I don't know, like just heated about the whole situation when it comes to Marcello directly, I think it could have been handled a lot better by a lot of pros. Are like, hey, we love and support Marcello, we don't agree with this, we separate the two. But instead, because these people are seen as icons in the industry, and a lot of them have like cult followings, they all were like, oh, this person doesn't agree with it, everyone hate Marcello. And it's the whole thing could have been
bullshit. That's such bullshit to me.
The blanket statement, the blanket effect of the whole thing, because even Zizek had Dan on his show the other night, and Dan was like, listen, if you want to hate me, fucking hate me, I don't care, I can take it, but like, don't why are you hating Marcello, essentially? And I can see, I don't want to say I can see, because I can't, I think it's ridiculous, but how do I word this? If I take a step back and just kind of like sit in a neutral zone, right? I can kind of see where some people question why didn't Marcello immediately cut ties? He did make the comment on his post where people were like, dude, I can't believe you're defending a Nazi. And he was like, Dan is not a Nazi. Some people, I could see where that can lead to speculation and confusion and things like that. But you actually talked about something earlier that I said I wanted to make a note on. And real quick, I'm gonna read these two from Impact and then make my point. What they kind of tie in together. So Bart Yakimak, owner of Impact, part owner of the NXL, right? So May, oh, my voice cracked, Jesus Christ. So May 12th, Impact makes this post. We have been made aware of a recent social media post by one of our players that featured some imagery that we as an organization do not condone. We want to be unequivocally clear. Edmonton Impact and our entire organization stands firmly against hate, racism, anti-Semitism, and all forms of discrimination. There is absolutely no place for this imagery in our sport, our team, or our community. We are taking this matter extremely seriously and are currently conducting a thorough review of the situation. We recognize the harm such imagery can cause and deeply regret any distress this may have brought to our fans, sponsors, and the broader paintball community. Our commitment has always been to foster an environment of respect, integrity, and inclusion. We will provide further updates as soon as we are in a position to do so. So that's posted on May 12th. So allegedly, Impact, Bart, and all these people hire a fucking like PR lawyer,
PR firm,
for this, and in a matter of 24 hours, after consideration and a full review of the present circumstances, Edmonton Impact has decided to release Marcello Margott from the roster as of today. So
go ahead. Sorry.
No worries. My tie-in to that, and with what we were talking about earlier, if you don't want to be associated with this imagery and this ideology and all this stuff, everybody that is in paintball, essentially knows who Dan Bazarian is. If you take one look at his X profile, you see what his stances are. So you cannot tell me they were that ignorant to his political views when he entered the league. So Bart kicked Marcello to the curb when all this came out. But before it came out publicly with the swastika on his gun, he was first and forefront as a part owner, putting a D5 team on the fucking premier field. So,
but there's fucking hypocrisy all over his whole fucking situation.
We're gonna get into some of this hypocrisy shit too, because
So
some of the comments I was making. So after all that stuff, so first I want to say the PR agency thing I did hear was true, and I got it confirmed from a source inside the pro world that it was true. But if you listen to that, right, it is the most pathetic fucking, that whole thing is the exact, I would say, I don't want to go too far political here, but it's
by all means.
It is just the most liberal fucking PC bitch statement you could ever make. And then to turn around and do something spineless. Like, they want to call, paintball wants to call itself, the owners all want to call themselves a real professional sport, okay? So let's give some good examples of externally, and then let's talk about some stuff internally. So externally, pro sports, Colby, R.I.P. Colby, one of the best basketball players of all time, pretty sure was caught in a room with a 17-year-old while he was cheating on his wife, right? And did Lakers cut him? No. Why? Because he's one of the best players ever. And they did a little PR thing, reformed his image, and now he's the Mamba, and everyone wears his jerseys. He sold billions of dollars worth of shit, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger was caught with a 14-year-old girl the year after they won their Super Bowl, right? And then he crashed his motorcycle. So, but Big Ben is still an icon in the Steelers world, right? And all these things. So on, Kareem Hunt drop kicks some girl in a hotel, gets cut by the Chiefs, gets picked up by the Browns. Oh, guess where Kareem Hunt is again? Fucking Kansas City Chiefs, right? The list goes on and on and on and on. The speeding, the fucking tickets, the sexual assaults, everything else that's happened, right? And guess what, right? Deshaun Watson, right, was found guilty in some kind of fucking civil court, right? Federally, he wasn't found guilty. Civil court, he was found guilty of like molesting or assaulting like 14 fucking massage therapists. He signs a $280 million guaranteed contract with the Browns that same fucking year, right?
Yep.
So then just to come out for a pro team in pro sports to not come out and support your players and hardship is absolute horseshit. Considering, right, paintball behind the curtain, what have they been known for everyone that's been around for the last 25 years? Pedophiles.
Yeah,
right?
I was just about to say we have proven as a sport over the last year and a half that that's okay. I don't want to say that's okay, but how it was so fastly, I feel like it was swept under the rug way quicker than it should have been. Me personally,
I think it was either Philly in 2022 or 2023. I can't remember exactly. I was commentating the semi-pro field, and there was a guy actively, a registered sex offender who was coaching a team, actively getting arrested at the fucking event.
Was it? Can I say the team name? Was it the Vipers?
It wasn't the Vipers. That was different. So the Vipers guy got arrested at World Cup one year. But so the Vipers, right? The Vipers historically have been known. The owners of the Vipers, the dude was a fucking pedophile, right? Yeah. So, and then the whole thing with well, fuck it, I don't care. The whole thing with Die, right? So I'm not. This is just. I don't want to get fucking sued for this. So let's just say there's a lot of things floating out there for a long time about a certain individual associated with the Die name, we'll say, that during his divorce process, for example, he had to pay a shit ton of money to his ex-wife to hush everything up because he was caught sexually assaulting kids, right? And it's been pushed under the rug for a long time, right? That this pedophile thing for this large for Dye was a thing, and guess what? They're a platinum fucking sponsor. They sponsored, I think two of the most, two pro teams. Like,
Legion
and
and Ironman.
the whole point is crazy that this happens. And to a comment you made earlier on all you have to do is go to Dan's post, right, or Dan's X, or formerly Twitter, whatever, and there's anti-Semitic shit on there everywhere, right? So all these teams were quick to sponsor him, put their name on his jersey, the whole 9 yards. The industry fucking knew this dude was anti-Semitic. The industry as a whole. So what pissed me off is that they were willing, the industry was willing to let Marcello fucking burn for this.
Yeah.
He took all of it. Marcello took all of it because not only was Dan known for all that fucking anti-Semitic bullshit, but how he treat like women on his yachts and shit like that. Yes. But that was okay. They know there's no fucking way that you are trying to make your goddamn company explode in social media, i.e. the NXL, and not know this dude's background.
Yeah.
Like you know that meme where it has like that soldier, he's got his arms like this, he's taking all the fucking shields. That was Marcello taking all the fucking shit from the NXL, this entire fucking situation. All of them.
So that's the some of the stuff that aggravated the shit out of me was the industry as a whole knew. He was a Google search away, and he has made his beliefs very known. One of the things that Marcello, my opinion, right, should he have come out and tried to defend the stuff? No. But let's just logically here, okay? So the Nazi movement in America was a recognized political party at a point in time in the United States, okay? So Dan is not a Nazi. At best, he's anti-Semitic. At worst, he's a fucking racist, okay?
Yep. Yeah.
Neither of them are good. But he's not a national socialist party. He's not walking around with a Nazi flag. He's not trying to start a Nazi movement. He's not out parading. He is not like a neo-Nazi or that kind of shit. He has shitty fucking views, right, of the world. But just like, so Daniel, you and I know this. We talked about it off camera. There are people that I physically seen downrange in the military, right? The people who are, because one of the comments I got was, you're not a real veteran if you're sitting here defending Marcello and Marcello's defending a Nazi, so ipso facto makes you a fucking Nazi supporter. I was like, dude, listen. And this is coming from another guy who was in the military. I was like, listen, I was downrange. I have deployed. I seen Nazi SS flags hanging up in Army fucking barracks, right, when I was there. Now, I wasn't Army, I was Air Force, right, different sides of the building, but I was like, you could Google.
Yeah, you had the good ones. We had the tents.
Yeah.
you had the Wi-Fi.
You can Google search and see morale patches that had, like, they tried to hide the SS fucking bolts in, like, morale patches on a hat somewhere on, like, a bulldog and shit. Like, you can Google search this shit. There is plenty of that shit going on. So, but again, these are the same people fighting and dying for our country and protecting these rights and so on and so forth. But it's just it is an unpopular belief. It's a belief that still exists in our country, unfortunately, right? It's been bolstered because of the whole thing going on right now in Israel and Gaza, blah, 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 right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it's extra sensitive. But the same exact people who came out and were shitting on Marcello are the same exact people who were fucking barking and crying to get the Red Legion, the Russian Legion, banned from the United States from playing in the league when the whole Ukraine thing was happening.
Yeah.
The first event after the whole Ukraine-Russia thing popped off, I walked right up to the Red Legion, Kirill, Sergey, the whole 9 yards, shook their hand, thanked them for being here. I appreciate you all. Like, do I agree with the whole war thing, all that shit? No, I don't agree with that. I don't want anybody to fucking die, right?
That ain't got nothing to do with fucking
the NXL.
Nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So when I went up and commentated, right, Go Sports actually told me you cannot say Russian Legion. You have to say Red Legion, right? So that was like the whole thing is you couldn't say any of that actively. And that's why they went to Red Legion. Now, Red Legion is a throwback to the original PSP days. They were the Baltimore Red Legion, I believe is what they were.
Boston.
So what's that?
The Boston Red Legion.
Boston, that's right. Boston Red Legion.
Yeah,
so it was
yeah.
like a throwback to that. So it was kind of like, it's okay, not a big deal. Because I think they were Russian Legion in PPL, and they were Boston Red Legion in the PSP or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So the whole fact of the matter is, when all of this happened, it's the same people, and guess what? Red Legion was on ESPN, won fucking back-to-back tournaments, has had a breakout year, has looked the best they've ever looked. So if we had kicked them out because of some fucking small minority of paintball's ideology, beliefs, whatever, it's like if we let the fucking purple hair freaks in paintball, right? If we let them kick out one of the most legendary teams because their feelings were hurt about some shit that they have no idea about, it's like, okay, how about this? Put up or shut up. And for all situations, you don't like the war? Take a trip, right? Ukraine would love to have you on the fucking front lines, right?
Yep.
Pick up an AK and some body armor, go fight the people, go fight the Russians you fucking hate. Oh, you don't like Dan Bilzerian? Good. You say all this shit on the internet. At the next paintball event, walk up and punch him in the fucking face. But
Won't happen. Won't happen.
You won't fucking do it, right?
Nope.
So it's all this shit is so hypocritical because, like I said in the very beginning, the same people who would wait in line for a Dynasty autograph and would literally buy. But this sounds crazy, but I've seen people, fans at events, buy pro players' fucking underwear. Not kidding. Buy it. Like, if the same people who are bitching and moaning and complaining would have bought Marcello's fucking underwear.
I did not buy no underwear.
I swear to God.
That's disgusting.
Off camera, I'll tell you who the pro player was who they let somebody buy their underwear. So I'm not like, that's the crazy shit. So we have all this stuff going on, and to get into some of my DMs, and I'll hear about some of your guys's. I had someone was like, I had a lot of respect for you, and the fact that you're a dad of 5 and you're defending this guy, what kind of example are you setting? And I said, first of all, one, right, me being a dad has nothing to do with this. I said, the second thing is, they called me a pompous asshole. I was like, the fact that you have to call me names and go after the fact that I'm a dad shows how unintelligent you are, and you cannot argue my point, right? So there we go.
You're welcome, PJ.
Daniel gave that to me for my birthday one year.
Yeah. So again, I gotten hate, like people like, I don't respect you. Like the fact that you're defending a Nazi makes you a Nazi. Like all this shit, and I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I'm not defending hate speech, if you want to call it that. I will say this: it is his right to feel that way. You don't have to like it, don't have to agree with it. And that's all Marcello was saying, and I'm not trying to talk for him, but that what I've gathered from talking with him.
Right.
It's not right. I don't agree with it, but it's his right to feel that way. And as long as he is not actively going out there and burning down fucking, churches and all that, what do they call those?
Blitzkrieg?
Temples or whatever.
like I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember the Jewish churches. I know, like the Muslims, it's like mosque, right?
Is it a synagogue?
Synagogue, right? Dave's not out there burning down.
Why did I know that?
I don't know how you know that.
Because you're a fucking Nazi.
Yeah. So he's not. If he's doing stuff like that, that's a lot. That's very different, right? Than if you want to support him. But he just says like, "Hey, this is his worldviews." I know a lot of intelligent people who have the same exact views. Unfortunately, right?
Yep.
Not that I like it, not that it's right, but it's not something that's as fringe as people think it is. But yeah, I got called a Nazi supporter. I got called a terrible dad. People were said they're gonna find my wife and convince her to divorce me. People were gonna, someone was gonna show up at my house, and one guy said, I'm gonna show up to your house and treat you like the Jews treat the Palestinians. And I was like, if you got my address, go ahead and show up. I got 30 things to say to you.
That'd be the fucking thing for you to do. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah.
So And if no one knows what 30 means, it's 35.56 rounds in a standard M4 or AR-15 magazine. So, again, all this shit. And then on the inverse of that, I had a ton of people, like pro players, everybody, like, thank you. Like, they just couldn't outwardly say it because they were afraid for their careers, or they were afraid for any kind of backlash.
Rightfully so.
I fucking am not. Like,
yeah.
How about you guys? What was some of the stuff you guys were getting?
One thing I wanted to read real quick. I want to read this real quick.
All right, read yours because I got one.
Well, there's two things. I want to read something from a pro player, and then I want to read what kicked off our influx of DMs. So, at this time that people like J-Rab and they were just completely shitting on Marcello, the GOAT, Oliver Lane, comes out on Marcello's Facebook and says, "It's wild how you can be such a stand-up person for years, make friends, build relationships, win tournaments together, inspire hundreds, grow the sport, mentor and coach people, and then all of a sudden they turn their backs on you. I love you, bro. You are a forever icon in my eyes, and I'm grateful to know you and honored to call you my friend. Keep shining through all the madness out there. You are a solid person despite what internet people think. They don't know you. I know you, and you are a pure heart." So is Oliver a Nazi?
Is the most legendary player in paintball history, a Nazi
most
supporter.
Spiritual dude right now.
So
namaste.
So without going into too much detail, I'm not going to call any names. In a certain, fuck it, I'll just say this. In the PTG Discord, there were a few people in there just constantly beating the dead horse. It would get quiet and get quiet and get quiet, and then these two or three people would just be like, "Marcello's Nazi." Like, dude, we're fucking talking about cooking on the grill and shit in here, dude. We're done with this conversation, and you're bringing it back up. Well, then when Impact released they released Marcello, they released a statement that they let him go, and several of them were celebrating, and it was like I said, 2 or 3 people, and then Instagram doing the same thing. So in the Discord, I said, this is a little lengthy, so I apologize for all the reading tonight, everybody. But I think it's good context. This was just my thoughts, and this is what kicked everything off. So I said, I really hope the community is happy with itself for tearing down one of the strongest pillars of our community, someone who's dedicated their life to their craft and has spread his knowledge into bringing up the up-and-coming generation into the game. Spare me the, "Oh, well, he's a Nazi" comments. I don't want to hear it. Was his response exactly what everyone wanted to hear? No, but imagine being torn apart by the community that you've loved forever while trying to put the pieces together because they didn't get an instant response. I'm sure I won't reply because obviously I see things different than some on here, and that's fine. Dan Bazarian can go kick fucking rocks in the alley as far as I'm concerned, but Marcello is one of the realest motherfuckers in our sport, and y'all just completely turn your backs on him instantly. Call me names, call me a Nazi sympathizer, which couldn't be any further from the truth. I could care less. I just feel like y'all should be ashamed for crucifying him so quickly. I love y'all, but that's my stance. So I screenshotted that because I felt so heavily about it. I sent it to Daniel, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think? Should I post it on our socials?" And he said, "Send it." So I put it on our story, and on our story, I put on there, "I don't care if we lose every single follower over this. Nothing but love for Marcello Margott over here, and if that's a problem, the unfollow button is one click." Marcello shared it. We dropped like 3 followers and just fucking blew up in followers, which by the way got us to our milestone to give away all that shit we've been trying to give away for 6 months. But
there we go.
But we did get some hate comments. Daniel has a couple ready. I have a couple ready. But I will say this before we get into it. We got some hate comments, but the support was way more overwhelming than the negative comments. Way more than hate. It was probably like 80-20 support to negative.
Real quick, Daniel, before you go, there was I think it was, I want to say HK Ken. One of the guys from HK, right, was a big supporter of Mark's. Kenny, yeah. He had a screen recording where he literally was like scrolling down like hundreds of positive comments that he got, messages about supporting Marcello and coming out, blah blah. And it was a good idea. I wish I would have done the same. I do too. Thing, Yeah, but it was literally, he was just scrolling of all the positive comments that were going on. And I reached out to him, or he reached out to me because I made a comment on one of my stories about like the paintball page owned by HK,
Yeah.
not the HK page, but paintball Instagram, still had the video up of Marcello going through all the masks, and you can see in the corner the hopper that started all of this. And no one was flaming them to take it down. No one was doing anything. I said, okay, where's all the hate for this? This company, it's 144,000 followers on Instagram. No one's saying shit about this, and everyone's still going ham on Marcello. And yeah, it was disgusting. Like, it was really disgusting. All the celebrating. There's a company, or not company. It's a brand. It's a page on Facebook that this guy and I, completely different ideologies in life, and him and I still find middle ground to talk about things. He was on one side of the Marcello conversation, I was on the other, and him and I were still able to sit down and talk about the views that we had on this.
Like adults.
What's that?
Yeah, like adults.
Right?
Yeah.
And
y'all continue this.
We don't agree on things.
I'm going to listen.
What's that?
I'm listening. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. So him and I had a nice Discord back and forth, and we called each other out on things. It was like, come on, man. Like, because I called him out. I was like, come on, man. Is this necessary to celebrate this guy losing everything? Like, let's be adults here on this. And he was like, well, you know, you're just supporting him, you know, because of X, Y, and Z. I got called a Marcello dick rider, like, immediately. They're like, oh, is this you trying to get back into paintball media? You're going to dick ride Marcello? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with it. Like, this guy is legitimately my friend and one of the best people I've ever met and known. But again, going back to this other page, we went back and forth privately, right? He didn't blow me out. He didn't blast me all over social media. I didn't blast him all over social media. Like adults, we talked privately, and that so much of that didn't happen that it was just straight hate and vitriol right away. But kind of like you all on my personal Instagram page, like I lost like 17 followers and gained like 600. Like, it was stupid. I'm like, I don't want this. This is my personal, like, I share like stupid family stuff on here. Like, this is not a thing. I'm like, got all these fucking paintball followers again. But Daniel, what was some of the comments you guys had?
So everybody knows that on our Instagram, PJ has the nickname in one of our chats called the Meme God. PJ makes some great fucking memes, right? So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make some fucking memes too. And we were going back and forth, and like the good ones we started sharing on our story, and that's when we started getting some fucking some people disfollowing us and all this other stuff.
Disfollowing? You unfollow?
Unfollowing.
Are you stupid?
I'm reading. Shut up. I'm reading some of this. But anyway, I had this app that would track the followers and unfollowers for our giveaway way before all this stuff happened, right? Because if we drew someone's name, because as soon as we see the follower, we try to add it to our list. And if they're no longer on our list, they don't follow us, then they're ineligible for the giveaway. We caught a few messages about that. Said it's pretty soft to be using an app to see who was unfollowing you. And then I was like, okay, we're getting a little bit of stuff that's like semi-whining shit that I was like, this is petty. And I was like, I want to post some of this stuff because a lot of these people are hiding behind Instagram. I was like, put them to light. I want to bring them to show them what kind of character they are, just out of spite and pettiness because they're being so fucking liberal and shit. And I cannot stand keyboard warriors. I fucking hate it. The biggest one that I've seen is this account says Mike Sweeney. He has 1 follower, and he's following 1 person and 0 posts. So this makes me to believe that this is somebody that we might know that made like a burner account just to say this. And I quote, "I'll just throw my hat in the ring for the roast. You guys fucking suck. I've never even heard of you before controversy, and I've played 20 years. I've met Marcello. He's a dickhead. My grandpa fought the Nazis and said, I wish I killed more," end quote. Fuck you. By the way, a, quote, roast is not responding to a DM. It's making fun of someone, but you wouldn't know that because you probably grew up watching Nazi propaganda while your mom and dad blew crack smoke in your face.
Accurate.
Damn, he's spot on.
Yeah, how did he know?
Yeah.
There's a fly in my house. No, the dumbest shit about some of the comments, like, and I think I said this before, but it's like I replied to like 617, I think, different comments around different on the Impact page, on other pages, like all kinds of stuff going on.
Dude, you were going fucking ham. I stayed up. I had to go to work at 3:30 the next morning, and I stayed up till like 11:30. I'm like, oh, there's Vince. Oh, there's Vince again. Oh, fuck, I should probably kick. No, I don't have time to get in that conversation. There's Vince again.
Yeah, dude, I was going hard in the paint for Marcello. The guy could not be more of a genuine guy. And I'll make a comment real quick about Marcello being a dickhead, right? People think that a lot of times because they catch him at the wrong time. And what I mean by that is a lot of pro players in different sports, not just paintball, when they're getting ready to go into a match or when they're like getting in the zone, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to be talked to. They have their ritual. They have the routine. Like they have their thing that they're doing.
They're trying to lock into a flow state.
Yeah, I had the same experience as Marcello after I had got to know him, and I was like, oh, him and I are cool. So I was walking back in the pits one day. I was like, what's up, Marcello? How you doing? He was like, hey, man, not right now. And I was like, whoa, like, did I piss him off or do anything? So then after everything was done, he was, the match was over. He was relaxing. Dynasty won, whatever, I went up to him and said, hey, man, did I piss you off or something? And he's like, no, man. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I was just getting in my zone, getting that flow started. Like I had my routine ritual. That has happened so many times, so many players. I thought the Edwards brothers hated me because I would like literally catch them right before they were getting ready to do something, or like they were on the way, like they were going to the field to like scout or do something. And I just remember Jacob one time, I had said something to him and he just looked through me like I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Well, then Jacob started dating Lauren Wheeler, which Lauren was I believe Lauren Wheeler was her name.
Lauren Weeks.
Weeks. Thank you. Yep. Lauren Wheeler was the girl I grew up with. Where the fuck did that come from? I went to elementary school with Lauren Wheeler. That was weird. So Lauren Weeks, I apologize. So Jacob started dating Lauren Weeks. I was commentating the pro field, or the semi-pro WNXL field. I met him as he was there supporting her. Nicest dude ever. And I was like, hey, man. Like, by the way, I came up to you one time and he was like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, we were getting ready for a match or whatever. And I'm thinking about it. I was like, damn, I think they were getting ready for a match where if they lost, they were going to miss Saturday. I was like, that makes a lot more sense now. So it's not just Marcello. It's a ton of players. I think there's only ever been one or two players that you could literally actively say something to them while the match is going on, like from the stands, and they turn to you and be like, what's up, man? Like
Alex Frazier.
Yeah.
Alex Frazier.
Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot. So, but yeah, I mean, we got all that hate and all those comments, and then turn around. The net of this, the end result of this is, guess what? Marcello is now on Damage. The irony in all of this, though, is that Damage is the hate brand, right? Yeah. So that is kind of funny, and the merch opportunities are going to be phenomenal, right? But it shows you, though, like there were people that came out, like Mark from the owner of ACD, so came out, immediately supported Marcello. A lot of the Damage guys came out, immediately supported Marcello. So there were, in my opinion, players that did the right thing. Pro players, they came out and they said, I don't agree with A, but we love Marcello, support Marcello. That's all. Like, that's all you had to do. The fact that, and I want to get your guys' opinion on PTG and where the hell that's going to go. Because Tyler came out, again, love Tyler, nothing against Tyler. He came out real, like, very clear statement against that shit. And it seems like there was nothing that was said, at least from his side of things, about, like, Marcello's my friend, love him, whatever. It was like, don't believe in all this shit. Fuck you if you do. Like, that was kind of
at the height of the controversy, essentially, yes. He did come back out and say, in the Discord, something along the line. Oh, somebody made a comment like, "Oh, Tyler to damage, so I can see my boys play together still." And he was like, "No, I'm perfectly happy where I'm at, but do wish Marcello the best on his next adventure, or whatever." So it was nice to see that sentiment. Without derailing the conversation too much, I do have a DM I want to read real quick because this was probably this was probably the best one. This person has, let's see, 0 posts, 44 followers. So
this one?
Yes. So
that was the next one I was gonna fucking read.
Yeah. So after our initial post, where I just read earlier in support of Marcello, this person says, "You're a fucking idiot. If you openly engage with and coach a Nazi, then you yourself are a piece of shit. Oh, he's a pillar of the community. Who gives a shit about Nazis can fuck off. And Marcello is getting what he deserves. Go be a Nazi sympathizer somewhere else." So I just reacted to it because I was like, wow, that's very crazy for you to say all that.
I got that same comment. Someone had to have copy and pasted it. I got the same word for word comment. Or someone messaged me in the DMs.
Yep. So then
burner accounts, man. People hiding
then
behind fucking social media.
Danny Lincoln shares this small montage of Marcello in support.
Yep.
And
I reshared it too.
Yeah, we did as well. We shared it, and this person come back and said, this was 2 days later, come back and says, "This dude could wrap arms with Dan, goose step their way up the field in full SS gears, and you bootlickers would still be on their dicks." And I just reacted again, like, why can't I support a guy that's been genuine and nice to us? Like, because he doesn't share those ideologies with Dan. So like, I don't know.
You know what's hilarious is the people. So bootlicker is commonly used as a military term, right?
Yep.
So the fact that civilians 9 times out of 10 are using military terms, it's like, one, you're the guy that says, "Oh, I was going to join the military, but."
Oh my God!
You go on the weekends and you play fucking airsoft because you can't buy a real gun for some reason, right? Yeah. And then it's always those memes or always those videos where it's like the overweight fucking guys with like body armor that barely covers their tits, and it's this is my platoon and blah. It's always those fucking retards that are like bootlicker. You're all this stuff, and it's like, oh, come on.
I didn't join because I would have punched a drill sergeant in the face.
Oh my fucking God! I'm gonna get fucking heated because as my first job in the Army, I was combat on the ground. I was in the infantry, and I cannot stand that type of shit. I was gonna join the Army, but
yeah.
I get blah, 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 blah. And like just seeing all this other shit, man.
Talk shit all day on these people who left shitty comments, but at the end of the day, guess what happened? Guess who really won, right? If you want to talk about winning and losing, yeah, good. You good job. You won the battle, right? You made enough noise for Impact, who hasn't won shit in a hot minute, right? Who spent a ton of money to buy all these superstars, right? And they get beat, constantly by the homegrown team. PB Fit. So yeah, good job. Marcello left a team who hasn't won anything in a while. And guess what? He just went to a team that's won 2 fucking events over the last 2 years. So good job, you morons. Did
you watch the AC event?
Situation great.
Yeah, did you watch any of the AC event?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched enough of it where every Impact match I seen when Marcello, and that's the comment I made, when Marcello wasn't on the field, AC, Impact looked like fucking trash.
Yeah.
And so it's just funny now. You're gonna add Chris Shear. You're gonna add the Edwards brothers, Keith, Brown. The damage weapons they have now, plus Marcello, right? And Damage has CJ and a bunch of great guys, Marky Ireland, that kind of stuff. I'm just like, the superstar names, right?
Yeah.
With Skinny, so it's like not only is Marcello rejoining Chris Shear, who's one of the most dominant players, those two together are fucking wild. And the coach that arguably is got Dynasty to their best victories in the last, let's just say 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the all-stars on Damage get, come on.
They're about to be a force to reckon with, even more than they already are.
I was just about to say they already are, but yeah, no, it just plus. I think, and what I hope doesn't happen, is, when Impact created their super roster, everybody's like, oh, they're about to go on a run for the rest of the year. And they didn't do what AC Diesel did. Diesel picked up all those players and got shit on for a while. They're finding their groove now, but Impact didn't go on a deep run like everybody thought they were. I hope Damage doesn't do that, because a lot of us are like, hey, Marcello's hungry now. He's got a lot to prove. So I hope that they don't get their ass stomped in the dirt, which I don't think they will. They're very consistent, but I hope they don't get stomped in the dirt and people are like, oh, the fucking Nazi didn't win. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, though. Here's my take on that shit, because we've talked about actually the pro level. It's anybody's game now. We've seen that. It ain't just like top 3 teams now. It's anybody's fucking game.
I've been saying that for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so like it's either going to go like one or several ways. It's like Damage is going to do good and win, and like, oh, it took them a Nazi to win, blah 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 blah.
Oh God!
There's going to be haters regardless. Those ignorant motherfuckers are going to have their things to say. You can't get away from it. And like we were saying before, like we've seen more support in the DMs on our podcast socials rather than hate. Like, this is a good take. It's not negative, but this dude hit us up. He said, I saw your support for Marcello. I'm a nobody in the sport, just play for fun at Extreme in Modesto, but I know my history and I love the Bill of Rights. I don't know if that's why you're supporting him, but good on you, man. It's not a popular take. Like, he kind of gets it, like, yes, you don't have to fucking believe this person's beliefs and agree with them, but you can still be like, hey, man, what's up? Especially if you're essentially my fucking income and you're my financial gain and I have a legal binding contract. Like, that's what a lot of people don't understand. Okay, just let me like take this legal contract and rip it up because you're offended about something that you saw on a fucking paintball marker that has nothing to do with anybody outside of fucking paintball except for the individual that owns that fucking marker.
Yeah, and it's not like they used that marker at an event. It was in a private collection. Like, it was. So I'm a big fan of Two Bears, One Cave, right? So the Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer podcast, right? As a gag gift, Tom Segura bought Bert Kreischer Hitler's tea set.
My God.
And as a joke. And no one was fucking boycotting it. It's not like they were out there putting it on tour, that kind of stuff. This was a private marker in a private collection that they just were not smart. They should have fucking hid it or something like that, right? Not to make it any better, but they did not bring this marker or use it at events. Like, could you imagine if they used it on a field in which someone got a picture of it? That would be a big difference if Marcello was actively coaching a person using this marker at an event. It was in a private collection. There are people out there, rich people out there, who have the most fucked up shit in their private collections that no one knows about, right? Fact matter is, it just got out. And because paintball is such a small world, it spreads all over the place. Going back to your comment, though, Daniel, about Damage either kind of winning or losing, and like they're going to make comments about stuff. One, my fear is that people are going to come with shit in the stands and they're going to have signs or they're going to do something.
I know one
the first match now granted, the NXL will do their job. They will get rid of it. They will, warn that person or whatever, right? But it's still, someone's going to get a picture of Damage on the field with a Nazi thing in the background because they're trying to boycott Marcello. That is going to happen, right? I hope that they hire extra security at the Ohio event to make sure that doesn't happen. The biggest thing I am worried about, though, are the refs. So the reffing staff is on the pro field is very split. Like, purple hair fucking psychos and like MAGA Republican Trump supporters. It is a very clear line, the refs that they have on there. So, and that's, Premier Field, that's all over the place. Unless you're down like the D2 and below field, but they don't speak English. So that doesn't help. So if you don't know that, right, let's talk about a controversy real quick that no one likes to talk about. How about on the D3 field at the last event, pretty much none of the refs spoke English, and they were wiping Latin American players that got hit. And there's pictures of it, proof of this happening.
I said it. Paul Petto, where the fuck when they for VM, the flagship, when I played with VM, there were so many good calls against them that stopped us from winning. So many.
This is
Daniel's racist confirmed.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the divisional fields that are paying the bills. You're hiring Latin American refs that are giving the Latin American team breaks and not calling hits, but then calling out other players and other teams, right? Let's just throw that out there. So, but yes, my fear is that the refs are not going to be biased, or they're not going to be unbiased, and they are going to go after damage on bullshit calls because of Marcello. That is my real fear. Now, hopefully, Jason Trozen is known to kind of be a no-nonsense guy. You want to know someone who's like, Trozen is either known for being a sweetheart of a guy, or he's known for being the biggest asshole you ever met.
Yeah, there's no in between.
Working for the NXL. Hopefully he can keep reins on it, and he can stop that from happening. But that's my biggest fear is when you put that on screen, there's going to be a lot of people going like, okay, watch the Ohio event. Like, I'm going to watch the Ohio event, and I'm going to know if refs are fucking over damage. Right?
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say the same exact thing because I was going to bring that up too.
Now, I also expect Marcello, and he, I believe, is expecting to get a couple extra heaters from some of these players. I would not be surprised if Damage and Legion have to face each other at any point in time. I would not be surprised if, J-Rab goes ham on him, or, maybe Impact, something gets hot, and Impact is known for being a calm, collected team. I would not be surprised if someone gets ejected during those matches because it's going to turn into a fucking shootout. So that's just my kind of last comments and final thoughts on all this bullshit that's happened.
I hope, even though that would make for good stuff to watch on the overshooting people and everything, I hope they all stay professional because the whole grow the sport thing, and I think we just took 100 fucking steps in the wrong direction with all this fucking controversy shit. I have a little addition about the whole Planet of the Eclipse, and I have nothing against Planet of the Eclipse. Let's see, how many fucking years did I shoot Planet of the Eclipse? A hot fucking minute. They're one of my favorite markers to shoot, period, right? And what got me was they made their release, their little press release about this whole, we don't support this, we don't support that, blah, 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 blah. In 2008, they had a fucking Confederate flag ego.
Yes.
You know who else said that? Daniel Bilzerian.
Oh, did he really?
He sure did. Daniel's a Nazi confirmed.
Damn. But because I had the American flag version of that, and I know there was the UK, the American flag, and the Confederate flag. And I'm
don't you go after my stars and bars, son, all right?
Yeah, brother.
Can I get a yeet? But
you got soft
I was
hands.
like, how the fuck are you gonna because we all know, I don't give two shits about the Confederate flag. I'm born and raised in South Carolina. I do not fucking care.
Yeah.
But we all know what it's associated with, right? I shouldn't have to go into details and explain that. Why wasn't that ever fucking brought up?
Yeah.
You know how many fucking pentagrams and shit that I've seen all over the fucking the divisional fields and shit, and crazy ass fucking shit.
Dude, I was just about to say all the straps with legit porn stars on them, ass naked fucking JT straps, and or people that buy this, get the aftermarket straps with full on naked spread equal butthole chicks on them, and it's no one says anything about that, and make it clear, not that they are the same, the anti-Semitism and the naked girls, not that they're the same. The example is you cannot bitch about one thing being wrong for paintball and then allow all this other stuff. It's okay, well, I have seen a 35-year-old guy with a with a porn star naked chick on the side of his mask playing on the same team as a fucking 13-year-old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like where we're exposing someone to something that they may not be ready to be exposed to, so it's like, where's the line at, right? You can't say one thing is bad for paintball and then support all the rest of the shit. Like when I was doing the media, right, and I talked about this before, yes, weed is legal. I have nothing against weed, I don't smoke, I don't partake in the old devil's lettuce, right? But like I know people that do. It was a terrible fucking image when you brought in these sponsors, outside sponsors, and one of the reasons why the NXL and Major League Paintball as a whole has tried to kind of get rid of some of that is because it looks bad. There are beer in the pits at 9 o'clock. People are actively smoking, drugs and doing.
We
drugs,
literally
like, outside
just had
the
this
pits.
conversation on our last episode.
Dude, no one wants to talk about the Adderall and the steroid problem we also have running around the pro division when there was an active pro player going around to random people asking if they had Adderall before he played a match, right? No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about the other shit that's going on. No, they want to. That's so again. This is kind of stuff that if you're behind the scenes and you see this, and you're a part of the industry in any way, shape, or form. All this shit that still happens. I just didn't like the fact that Marcello was being attacked so blatantly.
Instantly too. Instantly. Fucking instantly.
Yeah. The one thing I do want to talk about real quick, because you guys have more to do with it. I just heard my daughter wake up. So, so the one thing I want to ask though is, what direction do you all think that PTG is going to go in? Considering, Tyler's comment was, I wish the best for him in his next adventure, that kind of stuff. Do you think he meant that in a life way? Do you think he meant that in just a team way? Like you guys are involved in the PTG discourse and all I'm not. I've never been.
I saw PJ.
I took it solely as his paintball career.
I haven't seen an episode come out in a hot minute.
The speculation is, and you heard this here first, folks, but the speculation is they're sitting on go essentially for episode 300. That's the next one to come out, and it's supposedly going to be a good one. I don't know the context of that. I saw some rumors on Instagram that people were saying they were trying to kick Marcello out and put J-Rab in Marcello's place, which I think would be a terrible idea. But
I seen Nick Slowiak potentially. They were giving out options of who they think the next.
Yeah.
If Marcello does get bounced, but Marcello owns creative rights to PTG.
Yeah, you'd almost have to start another show.
Yeah, you would have to.
Yeah,
you would have to start another show.
I think my personal opinion, because overall it seems like the support is there. Like I said, while all this was going on, you had a handful of people really actively just shitting on Marcello within the Discord, and some of us were like, well, "Why are you even here?" "Oh, well, I'm here for Tyler." Well, you can be here for Tyler, but if you look at the logo, it's the old logo, it's animated Tyler and animated Marcello. You don't get one without the other on Play the Game, as of right now. I think it's too big right now. I mean, I might stick my foot in my mouth, but I think it's too big to fall apart. It's the biggest platform we have in paintball as far as me. I feel like in media, or at least podcasting for sure.
Yeah.
The Center 50
paintball side of things, absolutely.
Yeah, the Center 50 is the greatest show ever, but we're not that big. No, I'm just playing. No, I have nothing. I have nothing but love for Play the Game and all of the content creators within our sport. It's always just friendly banter. But yeah, I think they're going to move forward. I think there's going to be. And I have nothing to back this up. This is just speculation.
Speculation.
Yeah. I think it's going to be kind of like an open table discussion, possibly between the two of them, and just kind of air it out for everybody to hear, and maybe they're trying to find common ground on the show. I don't know.
They do it live though. That would be sweet.
I'd say, wouldn't that make for a great episode though, to show the world, show the paintball community how you can have all this fucking controversy go, especially between your product, right, your content, and you can sit down, have an open fucking discussion without emotions and feelings getting involved, and be adults. Wouldn't that set a great fucking example? Hint, 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 like to other people, like.
I think it would. I think that would be that would be the best way. Tyler's on one side of it, Marcel's on the other, and like we talked about before, being able to talk about, hey, I was upset about this. I didn't like this, the way this was handled, but we are best friends. We are partners in this. Like, we don't agree, but yet we can continue a relationship together, professionally and personal.
Yeah.
That would be the best possible situation in my mind that they could do. But yeah, I mean, well, it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I'll be watching Ohio to see, to my home state. I love that they brought the NXL back to Ohio. So we'll see. But yeah, I hope, my hope for all of this is the news cycle is pretty much done with it, right? It's died down quite a bit. There's still little murmurs and chirping here and there. I love PB Fit, and I was a big supporter of PB Fit when I seen them coming up. I seen the transition from the AC Dallas when all that burned and died, and they became PB Fit and came to the semi-pro side. Watched them for years. So my paintball side of me wants PB Fit to continue their domination and wants to continue them, just absolutely destroying everybody and winning. My heart wants Damage to destroy everybody and Marcello get the MVP. And then if I was in those shoes, Marcello's not this kind of guy. I'm just saying, if it was me, I'd be like, fuck all of you. Fuck, here you go, throwing up Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'd crack 2 beers, dumping it, you know what I'm saying? Like, play Stone Cold music in the background, walk off. Like, right?
Hell yeah.
So that's my hope. My hope is that if it's not PB Fit that wins, it's Damage that wins, because Marcello and he kind of gets a little bit of redemption, and a lot of people get to sit there and eat crow.
Yeah. One person that I'm not going to name specifically that has been very actively trying to cancel, going as far as reaching out to public news outlets. If you love the sport, and Vince, I'm not trying to hold you any longer than you want to be here.
No, you're good. You're good.
If you love the sport, this person isn't an active player, so I'm not going to go.
Call them out.
No,
call them out.
Nope. But
we're not trying to get sued around here.
Yes. If you love the sport and something like this is going down, I think it's better to handle it in-house. If the community wants to hash it out within each other, that's fine. If you as a sole person who does not play, you know some people that play, you're shipping all this shit out to the world, to news outlets and stuff like that. Exactly what Tom Cole said. What is the number one killer of lions? Other lions. And this person isn't even a fucking lion. They're not a player. Now, I guess they're a community member. Okay, whatever. I'm not a very active player either, so I can't say that much. But that's not great for us because I feel like we're on the cusp of just taking off as a sport.
Right there.
I just feel like that. And then, it's unfortunate this shit goes down. And again, we don't support the ideology or nothing like that. Just make that very clear. We don't support it. But I just think that, just going off the fucking mob mentality of everybody just canceling Marcello and then trying this one person is just trying to go and just, hey, look, NBC, we have a Nazi. Hey, we have a Nazi. And then it's like, NBC's like,
oh my God,
what is this sport? What I mean? Like who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
So, but I just think that, and it's a clown show, specifically from this one person. It's annoying. I get so tired of seeing it, to the point where I'm about to block this person because they're still going on to this day. Every fucking day it's something. Like, you just cannot get this man's name out of your head. And I'm talking about Marcello. They're not even talking about Dan. They're talking about Marcello. You were
tell me who it is. I don't know who it is yet. So tell me who it is off camera.
Yeah, you'll know when I tell you.
You'll know
when I tell you. But this person is expelling every ounce of their energy to cancel Marcello. They're not even saying shit about Dan.
Yeah, they would be careful with that because just like we know from being in the industry, if let's just say some reporter does try to pick this up and does try to run with it, the skeletons that paintball has in its closet that don't want to be brought out, that the industry has tried to bury for a long time, something like this could be brought up and could ruin everything that we are as an industry as a whole on the cusp of. And just like you, I'm not a terribly active player anymore. I still play locally, that kind of stuff, but I still know people that their livelihoods rely on this. And yeah, just at the end of it, I hope all this works out where it's a net positive. Everyone gets through it. We move on from it. Marcello maintains his reputation as one of the best, if not the best, paintball player of all time. And I hope that us closing this out and everyone getting the full story, both sides of the story, all the point of views, we can just be, we can move on from this where 10 years from now, no one remembers the fact that this supposedly had happened. And hey, I hope that celebrities want to come into paintball. I hope Dan brings more people into paintball. His ideology maybe can stay outside of paintball, but just his overall fame and growing it, that would be great. Any eyes we need that are good eyes. But just like they say, good news and bad news, it's all news.
It's all news.
So,
yeah, and I said the same thing.
Say before I got to roll out because my wife just sent me a threatening text message.
Been there.
No, I'm good, dude. Honestly, I'm just curious to see how the D5 is going to play out. I think they're going to go from having 5 teams to like 20 teams sign up, and I think that it's going to be a problem, and that the refs are going to have to really reel some people in.
I think there's going to be a lot of all of a sudden brand new APPA accounts that are made, and and it's like didn't you play semi-pro last year?
No, senor, no.
Yeah. You'll have like old pros coming out of retirement just to play D5 or something like that.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
I'm playing D5, and it's like, oh shit. So
yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, I appreciate you having me on and talking through this, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. We'll have to do a follow-up or not make it 60 episodes before I'm back on here.
Yeah, I'm
absolutely,
down.
Man.
Yeah, we're probably going to stay on and ride it out a little bit more, but you can dip. We appreciate you so much. We'll talk. I'll shoot you that name in Instagram.
That's funny, and I'll shoot you the name of the pro player if someone bought his underwear.
Oh yeah, do that.
All right, man. Later.
See ya.
Later, y'all.
Later, dude.
What a cool dude.
I love talking with Vince, man.
He was one of my favorite episodes altogether. When that episode 31. I'm pretty sure it was 30 or 31, but we had never talked to the guy, and he just gets on here and just fucking just falls in and runs with it, So
he's a natural.
Yeah, shout out to him. No wonder he did so well in the commentator booth. So yeah, I mean, I think we really did wrap up a lot of stuff. I had some things I wanted to kind of touch on, but they're kind of cloudy now because we ran. I feel like we ran through it kind of quick. My poor headset would not stay connected, so. I'm trying to charge it, but yeah. So I don't know. It's messy, dude. I feel like we're on the downhill side of everything, but just there's certain people wanting to keep spewing their stuff to.
That's but are you really surprised though? In all honesty, when it comes to this type of fucking controversy, with all of the bullshit that's happened within let's say the past 8 years, and within politics with Trump and Biden and all this other shit,
no.
Like you see where everybody's mindset is now,
it's
fucking ridiculous, man. It's the whole the victim mentality, the snowflakes, it's ridiculous. Cancel culture is fucking ridiculous.
Here's my take. And I'm sorry, but this before I forget. The Holocaust did happen, right? Both of our grandfathers fought in World War II, one in the Army, one in the Air Force. So, we don't support Nazi symbolism at all. I forgot, oh, goddamn, I got derailed just kind of thinking, because I had another thought cross my mind too while I was thinking about that. Oh, so like I can understand where if somebody that is Jewish, say a paintball player that is actively Jewish, if that's even a term, would be concerned that there's somebody openly displaying Nazi symbolism, on a marker and talking anti-Semitic stuff on social medias. I can understand where they would have concerns. But I can also understand where the public that are not Jews would have concerns for their peers. I get that. I 1000% get that. And I too have those concerns, I did have those concerns. But, do I think that Dan Bilzerian's going to come up to you and just fucking take you to a fucking concentration camp? No, I don't. I honestly don't think he's going to pay any of you any of attention. He's just there to play his game. Now, does that make it right? No. Can
Absolutely not.
Can Tom Cole ban him? Tom Cole has said as of right now, no. From the way I understand it, now if he comes in there and starts causing problems and he's wearing Nazi shit, whatever, then yes, Tom Cole can ban him because he's essentially he's creating a problem, disturbing the peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
And I will 100% support that ban. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, 1000%. But that's one guy, and everybody keyed up on him because he's famous and he has millions of Instagram and Facebook followers and friends.
Clout. Yeah, he's got clout.
How many of people do you think that you walk by at these events share those same ideologies, just not openly? They're like snakes. The ones that you can see, you don't have to be afraid of. The ones that you can't fucking see can strike you at any time. That's just the way I look at things. That is the way I look at things. And people are probably going to disagree with me on that, and that's fine. But if I know that Dan Bilzerian, if he is, I'm just gonna say if. I'm not gonna say he is. Forgive me while I try to plug this up again. But if he is a Nazi, then I know he's a Nazi, and then I'm going to avoid that guy. I'm not going to go anywhere near him. Now, should you have to do that? No. You paintball, you go to a paintball event to separate yourself from the monotony of the real world. You go there to have a good time and relax. So the sport has no place for that shit, right? But on the other hand, people go, oh, well, paintball's for everybody. Well, paintball's for everybody now except Dan Bilzerian. How does that work? I don't know where the middle ground is on that.
It's a fine line. So yes, paintball's for everybody, but so is everything else. Is playing guitar for everybody that can pick up a guitar and fucking play? Absolutely. But you got some racist motherfuckers, some prejudiced motherfuckers that play the guitar. But just because that I play the guitar, that you play the guitar, does that automatically make us fucking Nazis too? And some of these fucking perspectives and these ideologies, absolutely, because we play fucking guitar, we're bad people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But here's my little fucking take on the whole NXL thing.
Fuck man.
And bro, you're struggling.
This cord is a piece of shit, but no, I can hear you. Keep going.
Okay, so it's like we are 100% in support of Marcello and Marcello only, right? Now, if I know this is not the case, is if hypothetical people, if Marcello came, I have to make that clear, man, because people that their interpretation of some shit is just beyond comprehension to me. And if Marcello came out and was like openly, okay, I actually support his views, blah 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 blah, then I would drop Marcello in a fucking heartbeat. I would go on social,
quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, I would go on our social. I would go on our Instagram, like, hey, even though we supported this person, blah 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 blah, we were under the understanding that he did not support that because of his statement, blah 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 blah. We no longer support him. We withdraw our support. You're allowed to do that because hey, you seem to be an okay person, right? But now the fucking light shining, saying, okay, you're not so fucking great. You have these type of views that we don't support and agree with. Even though, like we were just saying, it's okay to have disagreements and everything, but that's on a whole nother fucking level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? because it's the individual, not the individual that's associated with that other person that actually has those bad views, aka fucking Marcello and Dan Bilzerian.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's very important to be like, God, I derailed myself too, man. I have to have a
There's just a lot of shit to talk about.
well, certain verbiage I have to say because I don't want this misconstrued and
Construed.
or whatever.
You're fucking me up with your grammar tonight.
I'm getting heated, man. I'm trying to like not cuss and like yell and stuff.
Let me find this. I got to go back to Marcello's statement. Hold on one second. I'm looking. I might have had it all the way down here. Where is it? That's impact. Yeah. So where is it? So the part where he says, "I believe in a world where you can challenge common knowledge and have open discourse about challenging ideas." I 1000% agree with that because, one, I just love to talk to people. I have a fucking podcast because I like to talk to people. I talk to your stupid ass every 2 weeks on here. But like, look at the and there was a guy in the comment section and every fucking post that supported Marcello where people were like, okay, well, the XYZ, and he's like, oh, look up the definition of whataboutism. You're deflecting, and we're all just like, no, we're not deflecting. We're just going, we're just saying you can't condemn this and not that. You're right.
Yeah, he's fishing. That person's fishing. Yeah, at that point.
The dude probably has no fucking job and nothing to do, living in his mom's basement like a loser. If you're living in your mom's basement and you're just on challenging times, then God bless you. I hope you get on your feet. But what? Anyways, but look at the situation of, I believe the guy's name is Daryl Davis, where he infiltrated the KKK and was turning people's opinion around, and like the people that he would turn back to the good side, our side, that doesn't believe in hatred and things like that, he would keep their like hoods and stuff as like trophies.
Their robes, yeah.
Yeah, he would keep them as trophies. And if you don't have open discourse about challenging ideas, just like Marcello said, those types of things, those types of situations will never happen. If you just, let's just say our friend Peter over here, right here, Peter Michael Myers, is a Nazi, and we just shut him out. Like, all right, dude, we're done. He's going to remain a Nazi forever, or a racist forever. But if I open the door for conversation and just really try to lay my viewpoint on him, not like evangelistic, would just be like, dude, I don't understand why you see things this way. Like, help me understand. Maybe I can teach you that the world isn't so bad. And then you have that discourse, and maybe that person changes their mind. Maybe that person is stuck in their ways. Do I think Dan Bilzerian is going to change his mind? No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. He's very vocal about his views. But if Peter over here, me and Peter grew up together or whatever, we've been friends forever, and I learned that you have these views, then it depends on how, I guess it depends on how extreme you are about them. Like, if you're just saying shit, I should be like, dude, you're stupid. Like, that's dumb. And then going about my business. Now, if you're just actively trying to load people up in rail cars and take them to Auschwitz, then yes, then we have a fucking problem. But,
yeah.
And people are like, oh, it's nothing to joke about. But you get what I'm saying, right?
You're just making a point, man.
Yeah.
Anybody trying to put humor about what happened.
Yeah, no.
But it's like, so I agree with you. Like, it depends on how extreme they are. Like, it depends on the situation, because I run into this problem in the military all the fucking time with everybody that are coming across the world, because you're seeing a lot more foreign nationalists come into the active duty military than you had before. And
fucking cord fell out again.
Oh boy. And there's one that came overseas. I'm not going to say any names or the country, so nothing could be tied, so anybody listening can put one and one together. But this person basically denounced their whole country because of the communism and stuff.
Yeah.
And like it ruined his family basically the family's foundation so bad that he had to leave, come to America and go active army for his better life. And he's trying to help support his family, through America and shit.
Yeah.
And that's sad that you have to do that. But he doesn't like disown his parents or his family because they still live in that country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he told me he has some friends that believe what his country is doing is the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm still friends with them. We all grew up together. We all suffered together in this aspect, blah, 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 blah. He's like, but they're stuck in their ways. I'm more open-minded, but we're still friends. And you don't see that a lot in America.
No.
But like we said, depending on how extreme that person, like if you're going to like, let's just say, timeout. Perfect. I got a perfect fucking example. Everybody knows about the whole Ukraine and Russian war, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows that my friend Luke went and fought in that war and lost his life. Now, I know 3 Russian soldiers, or Russians that used to be Russian citizens. They are now U.S. citizens that I served with. I deployed with. I still talk to some of them to this day. Not once has it crossed my mind that, hey, your country killed like one of my best friends. We're done. You know what I mean? Like that never once crossed my fucking mind whatsoever. Yeah. Then I had people come to me like, you need to stop talking to them because their country killed your friend. I was like, no. They live here in America. Just because they're from Russia, like doesn't mean like they didn't denounce. Like I don't agree with this. I don't like what's happening at all. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And like, why are you putting your 2 cents into somebody else's head to make them push your beliefs onto somebody else? Why are you using them as a platform to push your fucking beliefs like that? You know what I mean?
That's
like,
what we do in America, and they do it on a large scale for everything: political views, religious views.
Big time.
If you disagree with me, you're wrong and you're a piece of shit. And if you don't convert to my belief, then I denounce you. It's like Republicans, Democrats, Christians. The only people that don't do it are probably fucking atheists. Oh, I don't believe in that. Do you believe in that? Yeah. Oh, well, that's cool. Whatever.
They don't care.
They don't give a shit. And the world fucking hates them because they think they're just, satanic. But, just, I don't know. It just, I really don't know where I'm going with this. I feel like we're rambling now, but, to try to tie it all back in, a lot of it was, you're a sympathizer. You're a sympathizer. You're sticking up for Marcello. You're a sympathizer. I'm sympathetic for him that y'all are attacking, his career and his person. It's dumb. And
Yeah.
I didn't say this earlier, but the shit happened. The video or the picture got out. Marcello didn't say nothing for like 2 days. And I made that comment in my statement. And everybody was like, oh, Marcello, your silence is deafening. Meanwhile, they're still just fucking pounding him on social media. It's just, you piece of shit,
Yep.
you Nazi, sympathize, blah, blah, blah. So imagine, you're at the top of the world. Everybody loves you. The whole community loves you. You've gotten on a team with all your friends. And in a matter of a day, you've fallen from grace. And the community is attacking you. So now, yes, I understand why he worded his statement the way he did, because they didn't even give him a chance to put his shit together.
No, like I've been
mean?
saying this whole episode, they fucking grilled him immediately. Man.
So
Instant.
There were some things that he said, and I don't understand why he said it. And I made this comment earlier in some of his comments where they were like, "Oh, you support a Nazi." And he's like, "I hate to say it, but Dan's not a Nazi." Now, I don't know. I don't think I would call Dan a Nazi. I'd call him anti-Semitic. And Dan has said I've heard him publicly say, and I'm just repeating. Okay, I'm not supporting his views.
And I quote.
Yeah, and I quote, he was like, I don't hate all Jews. He's just against Jewish supremacy. And then Piers Morgan was like, oh, well, you're a Nazi. So like, was the gun Anno a troll to since Piers Morgan called him a Nazi, or does he? I don't know. I don't think so.
I got a question for you.
I may have an answer.
All right, I have guns, right? I like going to gun shows. At these gun shows, it's like gun and knife shows,
I
right?
know where you're going with this.
There's a bunch of fucking Nazi memorabilia that people have collected from like their grandfathers fighting in the wars. If I were to buy something that like a ribbon or like a Nazi a swastika or some shit that was taken off of a fucking dead Nazi that an American soldier killed as his fucking trophy, like I fucking killed a Nazi and Nazi business is booming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I bought that as kind of like a fuck you, like the American squashed your fucking ass, does that make me a fucking Nazi because I have that Nazi memorabilia?
And this, the way these people are thinking right now, yes.
1,000%, I would get grilled for it.
So where I thought you were going with that is, because this is what I thought when I first saw it. Well, before I saw it had his name attached to it. I saw a Planet of the Eclipse with a swastika on the V-neck, and I was like, oh damn, somebody made a like a, I don't want to say a replica, but just kind of like based it off of collecting like an old Nazi war gun or something like that.
Yep.
That's when
that was gonna be my second part.
Yeah, when I first saw that, that's what I thought it was, because I'm a huge, well, not as much anymore, but I used to be huge World War II enthusiast. I don't know if you knew that about me or not.
Yes, you've made it vocal a few times.
Fucking, I mean, it was a shitty time for the world, period. For everybody involved, but
it was a turning point.
It is the whole thing is very interesting to me. From the Allied forces joining up with Stalin. Just it's all. I've watched documentaries on it. I've read books about it, listened to podcasts about it. So just like you said, going to a gun show, the whole Nazi thing to me it's interesting, right? Like I don't agree with it, but when you look at it, you read about it, and you see how these people react, it's like, damn, how did that happen? You know what I mean? Like it's interesting to me. So if I were to, just like you said, I'm like, damn, I love World War II shit. If I were to like find a German helmet, I'd probably fucking buy it, because I love that period of time. I'd actually at one time thought about trying to purchase like a which I don't have the money for it, like an American era, a World War II era helmet, German. And the Italians had a funny looking one. It looked like a saucer pan dish, something like that.
You wanted the main players of the fucking war.
Yes. Now I don't have nowhere to put them now. But if I have that German helmet, now I'm a fucking Nazi, according to how all these people go. Now,
yeah,
I'm derailing here because that's not the case. Dan is very vocal about his viewpoints, so it's not like I'm not trying to get on here and say, well, maybe Dan isn't that way. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Nope.
That's where that was going, and I just caught myself. That's where that was going, because I'm putting myself in a different situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
trying to compare.
yeah. So, but that's initially what I thought it was when I first saw it. Like when I first scrolled past it, I was like, oh, somebody tried to make it look like an old World War II thing, but that's not the case. So
here's another little interesting take that I think we've talked about this before too. What is one of the most famous fucking JT straps?
The Rising Sun.
What is that associated with?
Look at that fucking gun behind you. It's got a bomb. It's got a nuclear bomb cloud on it. We killed a lot.
That Rising Sun fucked with our boats.
Yeah, we killed a lot of people with that little mushroom cloud over there.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and because this killed a lot of fucking people. Am I being canceled now?
Probably.
I don't fucking care. Try all you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things. Like, obviously, like the Rising Sun, isn't as bad in my opinion as a fucking swastika and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
But
because the mass genocide of Jews is the worst part of the entire world. I mean,
yeah,
the World War II. You know what I mean? That's it. It genuinely is. You know, the Japanese were very ruthless, and you know the whole Pearl Harbor thing is the worst attack on our country's soil or whatever. So yeah, I could see that being a little triggering for like a lot of patriots, but it was overlooked for several years. Somebody like you and I don't give a fuck about it. This mask right here for people on the YouTube had an original Rising Sun strap on it for a very long time. It's a cool looking strap to me. You know what I mean? But
it was a famous strap. I love the way it looks.
yeah.
Do I like what was associated with like the brothers in arms that served before me died when fucking not Nazi bombers, suicide kamikaze bombers were wearing the
Everybody's
fucking
a Nazi now.
Nazi business, buddy. I tell you
Yeah.
what. But fucking like seriously though, like I don't give two shits about it. But now, like I don't give two shits about a fucking swastika and shit. But I'm not gonna go fucking putting that shit on my fucking gun or hanging on my fucking wall or some
Absolutely
shit.
not. Like I hate what it stood for. The history behind it intrigues me. A lot of the history within World War II intrigues me. The whole, you know, the Russian thing, you know, the Soviet Union, you know, all that shit intrigues me.
Yeah.
But do I agree with it? No. And right now we're talking in circles, so we'll start wrapping it up. You know, I do want to say this, and I want to make it very clear again, because there will be people that try to take bits and pieces out of this and
Twist it.
whatever, dude. You know, we're a small podcast. If you feel the need to try to counsel us, we will talk to fucking dead air until we decide we don't want to do it no more. If nobody listens, I don't care. You know what I mean? It ain't like you're not gonna fucking. We don't get paid for this, so you're not gonna take away any money, cash flow from me. You know, so
You
if you
probably
don't,
save me money.
yeah, you will. You will. You'll save me time and money. If we just stop doing this shit, then I can go to sleep earlier one night every fucking 2 weeks. Okay, so, all that to say, I have a lot more of a brighter note to end this on, and I will, and I'll let you kind of have your final thoughts and statements. Daniel and I do not support in any way Nazi symbolism, anti-Semitism, none of that shit. We said that earlier. We're beating that dead horse because people like to take certain things and run with it. Things that, this is going to sound terrible, and I said it earlier, but things that do not personally affect me and my family, I really don't give a fuck about. I don't care.
Same.
I'm
I
sorry.
don't fucking care, man.
I don't care. As long as I can work and put food on my table and provide for my children and try to teach my children to be good people in the world, because I think I'm a genuinely good person. I don't pat myself on the back for a lot of things.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yes, I'm an asshole, but I feel like I have a good heart. So
That runs in the family.
yes, so that is what I concern myself with. I don't give a fuck about the Israel and Palestine conflict. I don't give a fuck about the Russian-Ukraine conflict. I don't care. If they bring that shit over here, then yes, I will care. You know, so that's just how I see things, and you know, I say that to put that into perspective for people who may be questioning where I sit on standpoints.
Yeah.
Right. So yes, does that sound selfish of me? Yes, I'm very well aware that it does, but life is very fucking hard when you don't have any handouts and anybody shoveling you money all the time. You know, Daniel and myself are very well self-made to where we are now. So that's what I concern myself with. My career and my family. I fucking work and I come home. And what do the next day? I go to fucking work and I come home. That's all I do. I don't even hardly fucking play paintball anymore because I'm resting on the weekend to go to work to provide for my family. So no, a fucking swastika on a gun did not hurt my feelings. Do I think it's stupid? Yes. Sorry. And also, y'all are dumb for canceling Marcello. Y'all fucking much love,
Yeah.
MM33 over here. Anyway, go ahead, Daniel. I'm sure I will ramble some more, but have at it.
I'm the same fucking way, man. Like, I didn't really care who wins the fucking elections. I don't really fucking care, like, what everybody else has going on, essentially. Like, the Ukraine war affected me on a personal level because Luke lost his life and everything, but I still don't care about the fucking war. Like, the way I look at that is, like, he went out, he had a belief, he went and fought, he wanted to go out as a fucking hero and, like, basically try to right some of his wrongs and everything. So he went out in a noble way, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Um, there's plenty of things that my best friends have done that I don't fucking agree with, and just like one of our best friends growing up made a decision that me or you do not fucking agree with, and he's paying for it now.
Very much so.
Have I turned my fucking back on him? Absolutely. I'm fighting that battle every fucking day with the state of South Carolina for like visitations and shit.
Remind me to talk to you about that off air.
I got you.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if there's a rally of fucking gay pride. I don't fucking judge about people being fucking gay, trans, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I really don't. Now, if there's a fucking parade, like a gay pride parade, and there's like half naked fucking dudes swinging big fucking rubber dicks around and throwing dildos at fucking people in the fucking streets and shit like they have before,
Yeah.
and my kids around, then I have a fucking problem with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Leave the
Like
kids out of it.
Like, yeah, like my 3-year-old daughter doesn't need to see a big fucking black mamba fucking getting thrown on the fucking ground at her feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will throw fucking hands about that. I don't give a fuck if I get my ass beat. I'm gonna fucking make it known that I don't like that. You know what I mean? But am I gonna wake up and like, man, I really hope I don't run into some gay pride parades today? I don't fucking care, man. If I see anything fucking crazy, I ignore it. The only thing that I am worried about is my career, my family, and my family's my family's foundation. Like,
Yeah.
my main goal now is to make sure that my kids are provided for, especially in the future. Like, I've already started saving for both of them. They both have their own bank accounts. They both already have their first car funding, essentially,
Yeah.
already started. I had to say one thing to one teacher, to Landon, about what she was doing. She was kind of like one of the blue-haired liberal kind of thing, or whatever. I had to say one thing about the whole. Don't want to try to come off like, you know what? Fuck it, I don't care. She was basically trying to say, if you feel like a fucking girl or whatever, blah blah blah. I said,
Yeah.
absolutely fucking.
At 3 or 4 years old, no, that's not
He
a
is
conversation.
my 4-year-old doesn't need to know about
Yeah,
that
that's
shit.
not a conversation that you
Absolutely
need to
fucking
have.
not.
Yeah.
No, I put my fucking foot down and I made sure that she got removed.
Yeah.
Because apparently it wasn't just my son.
Yeah. Leave the kids out of it. That's all we're asking. Leave the kids out
yeah.
of it.
But like, I don't fucking care, man. I was not basically fear of my life because some fucking celebrity had a goddamn swastika on his goddamn gun. I don't fucking care. I really fucking don't. Do I believe in it and agree with it? Absolutely not. Do I think it's good for the community? Fuck no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we're really trying to grow the sport, this type of coverage, like we said, that one individual trying to fuck spread this shit out. Hey, this sport that we're trying to physically fucking grow in the United States has a Nazi.
Yeah, and like I said, like, not to
Where
derail
cancel
you.
culture is a fucking cancer.
Yeah, not to derail you, but like I said, those and I dealt with this at my last job. Some things you just need to handle in house. When you start broadcasting and getting the wrong eyes on it, you can really cause yourself a lot of problems. And is that something that you want to do for the sport? You know, over one person. And I understand that people are concerned that maybe Dan has people that share his views that are also wanting to get into the sport. And do you want that at the helm of the sport? You know, it's Dan has enough money to buy the fucking league 6 times or or more. You know what I mean?
He's not worried about that.
No, and I know that.
You know what I mean?
But I can understand where people are concerned that, oh, well, he could come in here and buy the league and really push that propaganda, whatever you want to call it. I can understand the concerns, but try to handle that shit in house. Let Tom Cole's very well aware. He's not gonna just let somebody run in with just absolute vulgar hate symbols all over the place at his event and cause problems. Dan will have that person, not Dan, Tom will have that person removed. Tom Cole's not a shitty person. Everybody shits on Tom so much. He's got a lot on his plate. Does he make decisions that I agree
Especially
with all the
now.
time? Yeah. Does he make decisions I agree with all the time? No. But I like Tom Cole. I think that he's some of the shit that he does is dumb. And the times that he admits it, just like the name change for the divisions, they change that shit back immediately. But Tom's not gonna go, oh well, this dude has a net worth of $100 million. I don't care if he rides in a Panzer tank. Let's let him play. Tom's not going to do that. If he's causing issues, Tom will have him removed because it's the best standpoint overall for the league. He's not going to let the league go down in a ball of flames over one person.
Let me ask you a question real quick.
All right, hit me up. Then I'm gonna change subject after this.
All right, no, just on this whole controversy thing. This is the last question.
Yeah.
Do you think Dan Bilzerian is going to have like security at the next event?
No, who the fuck is gonna step to him? You know what I mean? Like he may have some like sleeper agents in clothes. I don't know, but no. I think here's my personal opinion. As far as it's gonna go, is people are gonna try to overshoot him on the field. I think he's going to get walked off if he gets shot, which I've seen where people say he's not that great. I don't know. I've never seen him play. I don't care. Whatever. I'm not a great paintball player, so who am I to judge? But I think that he's going to take a lot of paint at the next several events. He's allegedly playing the rest of the WCs and the NXL. But I think that's as far as it's going to go. People may try to say shit under their breath or whatever, but I don't think nobody's going to, there may be a person or two that might go up there and maybe talk a little bit of shit, but no, nobody's going to go up there and swing on them. Why in the fuck would they do that? You're a dumbass if you do that. You know what I mean?
It was just a thought.
I don't put it past somebody to try, but I just don't. Paintballers are a lot of talk. And I say that as a paintballer. A lot of us get on these fucking keyboards and just tick, 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 tick our little opinions. And then when you see that person at an event, yo, big dog, what's up, bro? No. Not, you know what I mean? So, I saw some people that are like, oh, I'm going to Ohio, and if I see him, I'm going to fucking lay him out. If you do that, post it on your Instagram story and tag me, and I'll share it for you. Fuck it. But I don't think nobody's gonna do it, and I don't condone people doing that. Don't touch people. You know what I mean? If you really feel that strongly about inflicting pain on that guy, then sign up for D5 and do your best to shoot him first before they shoot you. But just go ahead and probably be prepared to be ejected from the game when you have a malicious overshooting penalty or two. You know what I mean? So just be prepared for that. I think it may get spicy.
You think so?
I think it might get a little spicy. Yeah. I think you're going to see a small influx of D5 teams, especially at Cup. If he's going all the way to Cup, which I think he is, it may get crazy. But that's just to round that up in one sentence. Nothing but love here from Marcello Margott. That's really what the gist of this episode was about. And Marcello, if you are listening, you need anything, I don't know what you could possibly need from us that you can't do for yourself, but please feel free to hit us up. If we can help you out in any way, and that's really all about that. So what I wanted to touch on now, Daniel, you're good?
I'm good, man.
Okay, so switching gears here, if you've made it this far, I don't know how far we are in right now, probably 2 hours or so. If you made it this far, what we said earlier is we crossed our 1,000 follower threshold that we were holding out on for the giveaway. So shout out to Logan Grove. If you want to follow him on Instagram, it's LMG_710. So Daniel, do you want to tell him what he took home? Tell everybody what he got to take home. Do you remember?
He got to take Yeah, so he got to take home one of Matt the Gym Rat's personal jerseys, the Clemson University jersey. Jersey. I cannot
Jersey.
fucking talk tonight.
Words are hard.
Jersey. Fucking. I keep hitting my mic too. It's not a good night. He got a. It was a New York Extreme Flying Skull Sandana mask strap. He got a original 33 threads mask strap. He got a T-shirt. A Center 50 T-shirt. He got a sticker pack. He got a pink shocker amp that was given to us by our friend Carson, old Car as you like to call him.
Shout out to my baby Car one time.
That's it. Yeah. And he got a pretty really good Hormesis headband. Thanks to Alex Frazier to Hormesis for that. And thanks to Ron Rodriguez from 33 Threads. The Sandana mask strap was my own personal purchase from my own collection that I gave away. And he got pretty lucky on that little package deal, man. That was a pretty solid giveaway
and
for
David,
sure.
David Tran sending him a brand new HKSLR.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I apologize. I forgot about that. You were talking with him about that, so that wasn't like top of my head.
Right. So my man he was this close. He wasn't quite this close. People watching the video. He was this close from not getting that shit because the rule was you had 24 hours to claim, and if you didn't, then I would take your name out of the spin wheel and roll again, and the first person on the third roll would win. So he was about an hour away from missing out on all that shit. So, but he said he was at an event. He didn't have his phone, but he was very close to missing out. And,
yeah, that would have sucked, man. But rules are rules.
I just wanted to say, if you're actively engaged in a giveaway, it pays to pay attention. I have had to skip I think 2 people I've had to skip over because they didn't reply. One guy replied like 3 months later. It might have been the JT when we gave away the flex and the hopper and all that.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, he missed out on the flex, and sorry, man. I can't sit on that shit for weeks at a time when we have active people waiting. So, I just want to say big thank you to everybody that participated. I'm glad it's gone. I'm sad that the shocker's gone. I love the shocker. I had it sitting right up here with the rest of my markers. I loved looking at it and everything, but I'm glad that giveaway is behind us. We're at like 1,250 something followers now, which is how many?
We are at 1,271.
Yeah, so that's laughable to some people. When we started the whole deal with backing Marcello, people were talking about, oh, you and your 900 followers. I do want to say to us, it's a huge deal. We're just 2 dudes from South Carolina. Daniel lives in Georgia now, but we're from South Carolina, doing a show.
Stationed there.
Yeah. So we're doing a show that we didn't think anybody was going to really have any interest in. This was just a way for us to, just kind of bond and hang out since we're several hours apart. So massive thank you to everybody that's participated in the giveaway and just the community as a whole. And also, if any of the new followers are listening, welcome. I don't think we'll be doing a giveaway for a little while. Not too long. We may do a little bit of random things here and there, but the big prize package stuff I'm putting on hold for now because it took us way too long to do that. That was almost a year. So, I'm glad it's gone. And congratulations to everybody who did win. I'm gonna compile the names of all 3 stage winners and go from there. And make a little post congratulating them. But I just wanted to express my gratitude for our small community. I don't have to have 40 or 50,000 followers to feel accomplished. Yeah. I don't have to have 40 or 50,000 followers to feel accomplished. So that's just my little tangent for the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one, man. I'm glad it's over. It was pretty cool to see the influx of followers and support we have from supporting Marcello and everything. So shout out to all the new followers and everything.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciative that y'all are here. hopefully it continues to grow. We are always looking for ways to grow this podcast. We've said it many times in episode before, where we're not trying to make money. We're not trying to do this for a living or anything else. We're not doing this for any type of gain other than just for the fun of making the podcast, making content, interacting with the paintball community and stuff like that. Like PJ said, this is something that me and him do to kind of like hang out together and stuff, since he's a full-time employee and I'm active duty. So like half the time our schedules never fucking like mesh up. So it's a little bittersweet that the giveaway is over with, but I do have, I think, 1 or 2 Hormesis bands left that maybe after all this bullshit comes down and we get some of these topic episodes going, that we can actually do like a small giveaway of some sort.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, but it won't be anytime soon.
Yeah, we're gonna just pause it for a minute. We will get that stuff away, but yeah. Without going any further, this has been a long enough episode. Thank you, Vince Cunningham, if you're listening again, for coming back on. We really appreciate it, and thank you for everybody to listen. This has been episode 91. Yeah, real quick. We are sponsored by Infamous Pro DNA, so if you are in the market for some paintball gear or any kind of soft goods, t-shirts, anything like that, use code CENTER50 for 10% off at checkout for anything on the site other than markers. So don't try to get an Infamous CS3 with that code, because it will not work. By the time this episode comes out, it'll be the end of their sale, but they do have a sale going on this weekend, a big sale, 50% off of this, 60% off of that. So check out the website and pick up some cool shit.
Yep.
You good?
I'm good, brother.
Peace.
Later.